Hey gang, it's me, it's Kelly, and this is a very special episode of the Run Selfie Repeat podcast. I'm coming back from hiatus because I had the absolute pleasure to get to talk to Laura Tempesta. She is a sports bra expert and the founder of Bravolution. It's a website that has just incredible resources that will help us all understand sports bras, which I thought I knew all things about sports bras. And deep diving this website and getting to talk to Laura, holy moly, it both excites me because now we can know what sports bras work and don't work for our bodies, our specific body shapes, which is so much more than bigger and smaller, and angry because this is information that we should be given growing up. It's insane that this is not readily available everywhere and everyone knows this. A little bit about Laura. Obviously, she'll introduce herself, but she's the only American with a master's degree in lingerie design. And she's the only person in the world with a custom design degree to study the engineering and the design, performance, and innovation of sports bras. She knows her stuff. And she has this incredible guide online that you can download on Bravolution.com. She also has a TED Talk. Everything to find her and Bravolution.com and all the resources are linked below in the show notes. But if you are wondering why those little taco cups are the removable pads are in sports bras, if you're wondering why sports bras are so shitty or why innovation hasn't really happened over the last 100 years, we talk so much about sports bras and how to find the right sports bra for you, how to really figure out your body, sister sizes. We talk about everything. This is such an informative conversation. I hope you enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, the queen of boobs, Laura Tempesta.
Hello.
Do you go around introducing yourself like that? I'm the queen of boobs.
Not quite, but I like the title. I may have to adopt it. The queen of anything.
I am dying to hear about Bravolution and the evolution of Bravolution, because when I first came to it, I was like, what is this? And then once I started watching your videos and once I got the guide, I was like, why do you not get this in middle school? Why did I have to watch some stupid health video and I just wasn't given this? I feel like I would have saved myself decades of blood chafing.
Yeah.
How did this begin?
Well, it started with me. Well, let me tell you my journey into bras first. Let me start with that. So my undergraduate degree is in medical anthropology. And I thought oh, okay, I'm going to go be a medical anthropologist. And, it turns out there are only 5 in the whole world and there's really no jobs in medical anthropology. So then I ended up actually going into management consulting, and I did that for a little bit. And then I thought, I don't really like this so much. I love apparel design. So I went back to school for apparel design. Long story short is I ended up at Nike, and I worked at Nike for a decade, and I was in their innovation department. And when I was in their innovation department, we had a project come on for bras. And at the time, Nike didn't have any bra experts in the company. And so we hired a consultant, and, the consultant was more of a lingerie expert, not really a sports bra, because there was no sports bra expert anywhere that we could find.
Yeah.
There are sports bra biomechanists. There are people who, they're scientists who put women on treadmills and watch how their boobs move, and they're really good at that, and saying well, this bra, your boobs move too much, and in this bra, your boobs you're good. This is high support, but they don't know anything about patterns or how to design a bra or how to put a bra together. That's not their area of expertise. So there was no one who knew both biomechanics and also how to design a sports bra, to design a really great sports bra. So we brought in this consultant, and, and it was fine, but it was also well, why don't we have anybody in-house to do bras? And the long story short is Nike ended up sponsoring me to get a master's degree in lingerie design at a school called De Montfort University in the UK. It's considered the best place in the world to study lingerie design. And they worked with the school to custom design this master's degree for me, where I studied sports bra aesthetic design, technical design, the patterns, the fabrics, how things are put together. We looked at the science of it, the biomechanics, and combined all of that into one degree. And so I'm the only person in the world who studies sports bras in this way, who has a really comprehensive education in sports bras. And I'm the only person in North America with a master's degree in lingerie design. So I know bras really well. And the reason that I was personally felt just so inspired to get into bras is part of my own personal journey with chronic pain. I had a knee surgery back when I was 32 years old that resulted in a very rare complication called RSD. It's reflex sympathetic dystrophy. It's a very rare complication. They don't know what comes of it, what causes it, but it causes massive nerve damage in whichever limb it affects. And so I spent 2 years unable to walk and another 10 barely able to walk. I was in physical therapy for many, many years. And it was I really do look back on that experience with gratitude. I know that sounds crazy, but it really changed my life. It altered my life in many in extraordinary ways that I can't even, I would take hours to get into. But one of the things that it really made me appreciate is movement. And I know what it's like to have a part of your body prevent you from being active. And so to me, like, I would sit in these focus groups with these women who, these Nike focus groups about bras, and women were complaining like their breasts were too big. They couldn't run because they had large breasts, all the pain their bras were causing them, and I thought, my God, like, not being able to run because you have a leg issue, which was my issue, that makes sense. But not being able to run because your boobs are too big, that's a solvable problem. Like, why isn't anybody solving this? And then as I got in and learned more about bras and the crazy like bra sizing system, which is insane, like, I've said this before, but just like, to me, I don't understand how it's not CNN headline news that how bras are sized and how fucked up it is. And why 80% quote unquote of women are wearing the wrong bra size. It starts first and foremost with a sizing system that's completely antiquated and makes no sense at all. So, and I was just getting into this. I'm like, this is so crazy. Like, how are women just accepting this nonsense in their life? Like, there's bra sizing being insane. There aren't any adequate sports bras that are, really amazing. There's some that are pretty good, but no one, like, where's like the money and the science and people looking into this? So I was just super passionate about, I got into that project at Nike. And I said, this is my thing. Like, I know that this is my thing. This is a problem I want to solve. And I want to go all in and be like a problem solver for this. So I have some patents that are bra patents that are that belong to Nike when I was an inventor for them. But I was their sports bra innovation director after getting that degree, and I loved working for Nike. Nike's a great company, but I became so passionate and inspired and really wanting to change this industry and how bras are made and how women are educated about it, that I thought, if I work for Nike, I can only affect one brand. And, every brand has its politics and its way of doing things. And so you can only affect a small slice of something. And I thought, if I leave and I become a consultant, I can work with lots of brands and I can give them information and advice and help them make better bras. And I want to do that. And I want to provide information that I know isn't already out there. So like for me, one of the most telling things is, watching yourself running in slow motion when you're wearing a bra, because that's what the biomechanists are essentially doing. Like they're tracking breast movement and it's in high speed and they're looking at how the breasts are moving. And so I would just tell people, like, pull out your phone, put the video on slow-mo, run in front of it in slow-mo and watch how your breasts are moving in the bra. And you will be shocked when you see how much your breasts move when you look at yourself in slow-mo. And like, I wanted to provide like that kind of information to people too, so they could say, like, because there's no standards in the sports bra industry. Any brand can say any bra is high support. There's literally no standard or no police, like, of the industry, making sure that people are sticking to a certain standard. So for me, I feel like if I give people the education to know what a good bra is and to see whether a bra is actually living up to its claims, then I'm helping women like exercise and become more active. And also, there's just so much, pain that women simply accept as a status quo. Like that's just like part and parcel of being a woman. You have to deal with pain. You have to deal with period pain. You have to deal with all this pain in your life. So you just accept it. Well, that's bullshit. You don't have to accept it. Like, just because the industry isn't making great products, it's up to the industry to step up and make better products. Like, that's because no one's really forcing them to. They're being lazy and they're not doing it. And so if you can sell a crappy bra and it still sells, like, why would you as a brand invest more time and money into making better bras if no one's really complaining about it, right? So like that was also part of what I wanted to do, is like to have more of a strong voice to these brands and say, this isn't okay. And we know you can do better. And we want you to make better products. So that was also part of why I did this.
When I read that you're the only one with this kind of a degree, I wanted to scream. I could not believe that that we're here in 2021 and not more people are like, wow, every woman has boobs. And movement is like one of the only ways we can cope with life. And it feels good and it helps us. And yet most of us can't, because we wear 14 sports bras, shitty sports bras that we've had since college, or that are like $20 that are affordable, and we have to layer up. And it's just miserable. And even when you do get a really good sports bra, because the sizing is so antiquated and there's no rhyme or reason, you end up chafing and you're like, well, this bra is shitty. And you're like, well, no, it's just not the right size, because
yes.
why would we all have the same system of sizing? It's so bonkers and bogus. I want to talk to you about your degree. Like when you were going through your master's program, like when you went into it, like what did you expected align with like what actually happened?
That's a great question. First, I will say, just based on the point you just made, when people say to me, oh, that's so cool that you're the only person in North America with a master's degree in lingerie design, I say, well, is it? Because to me, it's not cool. It's not cool that only one person has studied this in this way. It's
like women volumes. In STEM, where are you?
Exactly. This is why bras are broken, because nobody is studying bras.
Right? I'm so glad we're making robots that can do parkour, but like, hello.
Exactly. And I feel like we're sending people to Mars. We can't make a decent bra. Like seriously, like who, let's think about the number of lives we're actually affecting. Like, I don't care if Jeff Bezos goes to Mars or wherever he goes.
Right?
I care if millions of women are comfortable in their bras or feeling properly supported. Like that I care a lot more about. So the degree, I was already going into the degree knowing that bras is so different than anything I'd studied. Because I told you I'd studied apparel design.
Yeah.
Bra design and apparel design, night and day. And that is part of the reason why so many bras are broken, is because there are so few people who are educated in proper bra design. What these companies that make bras end up doing is they hire people who are educated in apparel design, and then they train them on the job. And bra design, like I know expert apparel pattern maker, some of the best in the industry, they'll look at a bra pattern, they don't even know how it goes together. It's that different. Bras are actually closer to footwear than they are to clothing. The manufacturing is much closer to footwear. There's a lot more similarities. There are molds, so, it's close to body, it's supportive. So it's 3D, it has, so there's a lot more similarities between bras and footwear than there are between bras and clothing. And part of the reason why the industry is broken is that all these clothing people who don't know about bras are getting hired by bra companies. And then basically that's why the pattern making and the fit isn't as good as it could be. So to me, I think what was most surprising to me getting into that degree was the number of almost everyone wants to study lingerie design. Like almost all of the people who actually have an interest in doing something technical with bras want to do the pretty lacy runway, like Victoria's Secret fashion show types of stuff. And I thought, how sad that there aren't more people that care about sports bras. I'm literally the only person here who wants to study sports bras. And that was really surprising to me. And I think more students are getting into it now, especially as sports bras become a bigger and bigger business post-pandemic. Comfort is becoming a bigger thing. So I think more students see the opportunity in it. But sports bras are the most technical kind of bra. It's more like equipment, honestly. They're like a piece of athletic equipment. And really, the amount of time you put into finding the right athletic shoe, you should put into finding the right sports bra, because it's that important. They're really equally important. And I think maybe what the rub is that you do have to have some interest in science to also be a great sports bra designer. You have to have a scientific mind and an artistic mind. It's a little bit more like engineering, I guess, than it is like pure art. And so, a lot of the students who go into lingerie design are like artists, and they want to make these beautiful lacy things. And I just thought, could we go into engineering schools and like try to tap some female engineers who might be interested in actually solving this? This is a physics problem. Like,
seriously.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think there should be more people who, I just wish there were more people who are interested in it, but I just think we're not maybe not looking in the right places, or presenting that opportunity to the right kinds of people who have the kind of brain to actually solve this kind of problem.
I would never even cross my mind that like people aren't studying this. That boggles my mind. Like, it doesn't make sense to me that big universities don't have programs for this. It seems like one of the only lucrative markets that can like truly like have huge payouts, because it's like the wild west.
Yes, it is totally.
It's like the bottom of the ocean or the middle of the ocean. Like we know the top and we know the bottom, but like everybody missed the middle. And it's like, you can name all the fish. Go, explore. And it's like, hello, help our boobs. Like, where are these big schools and these programs? That's so crazy to me.
Yeah.
When you were going through your program, like you were the only one?
I was the only one interested in sports bras.
So
Yes.
like who like were you learning from, and who were your mentors, and like what did that education look like?
That's another great question. So I purchased a treadmill for the school, brought it into the design studio. So in the design studio, there was a treadmill, and I set up cameras and did my own high-speed videos in there. And I took, because Nike was sponsoring the degree, I was still employed by Nike. So, I was working with the biomechanists and the researchers that we have at Nike. So they were helping me figure out how to do this, at the school. But honestly, in a way, it ended up being a blessing in disguise, Kelly, because because I had to do all of the learning on my own, because I was getting like the basics of construction and the fundamentals of the lingerie part of it, which is important to know going into sports bras, but sports bras is slightly different. I had to basically I took apart dozens of high best-selling sports bras, took them apart completely, soup to nuts, completely took them apart, examined every single pattern piece, examined how the fabric stretched, what type of fabric they used. I have like Bibles of information that I collected from all these different bras. And through that process, that's what helped me to become like really good at this, was because I thought, oh, like nobody in the industry knows that's why that bra is working. And nobody in the industry knows what that bra isn't working. I know because I've actually put in the time to take everything apart and really examine it, and then put it on a treadmill and see how it's working. Like, so it allowed me to become really good at what I'm doing. Whereas had there been like a, sports bra expert at the school to teach me sports bras, they probably wouldn't have done that kind of research they probably wouldn't have been able to tell me. There was like one sports bra class at the school. I knew more at the end of my research than everything they were teaching in that sports bra class, because of the work I'd done to educate myself, because I had to, because there is so little out there on how to design great sports bras.
Damn. That's, I mean, one, so cool, but also so frustrating that you're like in school and you're just teaching yourself and act like having to figure out your own resources. I'm with you. Like, that's pretty amazing to like be the maker of your own destiny, I guess. Like, I feel like you got to design your own course. But my God, why does that not exist?
Yeah, I think they think it's such a niche industry, and for the lingerie industry, they're thinking, like, especially at the time, like oh, Victoria's Secret has all this market share and they're just selling push-up bras, and like they're not really thinking about, like, I could see it on the horizon. I'm like, no, sports bras are gonna surpass this. I can see it. And way before the pandemic, I would have like these Wall Street analysts would call me and they'd say, well, what do you think about Victoria's Secret? And I said, I wouldn't invest in Victoria's Secret. I was like, Victoria's Secret is going down. Like, they're on the way out. I don't care how much market share they have. They don't get it. They don't understand that there is like this tsunami of change that is coming to the lingerie industry, and it has the word comfort written all over it. And they don't get that. And they don't get performance, and they don't get comfort. They get beautiful, like, and they get support. I mean, obviously they push the boobs up pretty well at Victoria's Secret, but it's so much more than that. And we've evolved so much past the 90s of this, like, wanting to be beautiful for the male gaze, and instead actually coming up with a product where we feel beautiful for ourselves. And it's a product that actually makes us feel good, and visually, but also just how it feels as a garment. It's not compressing into us. It's not causing pain or discomfort. And then when the pandemic arrived, I was like, okay, that tsunami with the word comfort written all over it, that wave, there was a gale force wind that just pushed that right to the shore. And now it's
Yeah.
here. It's here. And this is what women want. They want comfort, and sports bras and comfort bras are very closely aligned. So there's like, obviously, as you know, a range in sports bras. There's the high support bras that you use for running that, have to be highly technical, like, like I said, athletic equipment. Then there are the lower support bras that you could wear every day that just, yeah, maybe you're not going to be, pushed up and looking like you have like the biggest boobs in the world, but you still have a nice shape and you're not feeling your bra all day long and you're not distracted by it. And that's, I mean, can you imagine, like, and I'll talk to guys. There's actually a lot of guys in the bra industry, which is also something that's very surprising. But, and I'll say to them, okay, do you know how many women right now are just dealing with pain from their bra throughout the day? They just accept it as a part of this, like, that's just the status quo. That's what they have to deal with. Pain from their high heel shoes. Like, you wouldn't last 1 minute in a meeting if you were being distracted by some tight rubber band around your rib cage and, pressure into your shoulders and pain in your feet. Like, we just accept these things that we're just told, like, hey, as a woman, you just got to deal with it. Like, that's the price for beauty. Well, no, I want my boobs to be supported because I'm just more comfortable when they are. Like, it's just, I'm less distracted when my boobs aren't, bouncing around. But I also don't want to be in a bra that's uncomfortable either. And I think, those two things don't need to be mutually exclusive. And for so long, we've just assumed that they have to be, and they don't have to be. It's just a matter of, again, women standing up and saying, no, I'm not, that's not okay. And we're not going to keep purchasing these antiquated products.
Yeah. Thank God too. I like think back to when I first started running and like I would wear 3 bras from, Target or a Nordstrom Rack, like things that I found for like $20. One, because I assumed I would quit. I didn't think I was going to stick with it and I didn't want to invest. I also was too afraid to go into a store like Nike or Lululemon. Like I was too afraid to go in and ask for help because I was just like so terrified that someone's going to tell me like, oh, you're not a runner. Like, here, let me show you the blanc de blanc de blanc, whatever. So like I like did not know what I was doing. And I look at like pictures from my first marathon and I'm wearing like, I think I'm wearing 2 or 3 sports bras and like I have like gels stuffed in them and I just look insane. Like I look like a stuffed sausage. And as it wasn't until I got to start working with brands that I started realizing like the new innovative sports bras, and you look at them and you're like, this is just coming out now. And no one knows how they fit. No one knows what to look for. No one knows how to measure yourself and that the sizing isn't like the same across the board. And it's wild to me that no one teaches us how to wear bras. Like I can remember like episodes of Oprah, the Oprah Winfrey Show or the Tyra Banks Show when I was little, watching them talk about how important it is to get sized and then doing nothing about it. Like going to Victoria's Secret in middle school and getting a bullshit push-up bra for like a 13-year-old instead of like, hey, here's a piece of equipment that's going to be comfortable and that's going to let you just be in school. It's just bogus. The whole thing is so insane. It makes me so crazy. It just like really makes me mad, to be honest. I'm like clenching my fists.
Yeah, it pisses me off too. I'm in the same place as you. I get really pissed off as well about it. And I'm totally with you. There needs to be education about, I mean, to me, it's like you said, like those videos that you watch in middle school. How you choose a bra should be in there, because the way the industry is set up currently is, well, you have to go to a specialty store and be measured. So basically they're saying there's all this secret information that you can't get unless you come into a store.
Use the password.
Baloney. Are you kidding me? Like you should know. It's like going like to buy a car from a car dealer and knowing nothing and just being like, okay, car dealer, you tell me which car I need because I have no idea how to buy a car. Like, you know something about cars and you do research before you get there. And when you do that at a bra store, you're basically at the mercy of the bra fitter. And different bra fitters have different philosophies. Some fit really tight, some fit looser. And if you don't even know how bras are sized, like you don't know that a 36B and a 32D are actually fit the same size boob. Like if you don't know that, and then the bra fitter comes to you with a 32D and you're like, what? I'm not a D, I'm a B. Like, and they're not explaining it to you. You're just like, wow, this is hocus pocus magic. Well, no, like, there is an education and an explanation behind it, but no one gets it. And it's all part of like the business plan of like how they sell bras is by keeping it like this mysterious, you need to go to a bra fitter to get the right bra size, which is baloney.
So crazy. That was always the advice. Go find the bra fitter. Go find the magic woman. Here's your map. If you can find like the sorcerer at the end of the fucking treasure
Exactly.
hunt, like
It's like the sorcerer.
you then get to
Totally.
buy a $200 bra that you'll wear every day for the rest of your life because you can't afford to replace it. Oh, it's also crazy. Can I ask you about like sports bra construction and like what you think is exciting right now, what people should be excited about and looking for in a sports bra, and the difference between like women who can wear those like $30 pretty light support compression bras and then those of us who like unfortunately have to get a Tesla in order to like run?
Yeah, well, let me tell you the kind of like, if you just the basics of finding a great, we'll talk about run bras, for example.
We're going to break down the entire thing in your guide too. So
Yes.
Stay tuned, y'all.
Okay. Well, one of the basic rules to remember is the more the bra stretches, the more your breasts will move. So people will sometimes, one of the biggest, errors I see people make is like, oh, this is super stretchy and it's super comfortable. This will be great for a run. And well, no, the more stretchy it is, the more your breasts are going to move. If you, and it's a physics thing. If you have smaller breasts, and if you have breasts that are, we call self-supporting, so there's no weight in your breast. Like there's so many different breast shapes within a size. Like, you can be 32D, but you can have really perky breasts. You can have breasts that have more weight in them. You can have like side facing breasts. Like there's all these different breast shapes, and that does matter, like how you fit into a bra. So if you're, you have a smaller bust and you have breasts that are like self-supporting, well, you can get away with all the lower support bras. And even sometimes for a run, you can get away with it because that's just the way your breast tissue is constructed. If, however, you have larger breasts and you have weight in your breasts, well, they're going to be, moving and moving with a lot. There's going to be, a lot of force when you're hitting the ground every time you're running. And so,
don't I know it?
And so if there's stretch, and I use this analogy where I take like, a shopping bag from Trader Joe's, like it's just, all canvas, right? And then I have the same exact shopping bag, but I put elastic straps on it. And then I put a watermelon in it or something and I bounce. And I said, well, see what happens. Like there's a reason why your shopping bag, your purse, and your backpack don't have stretch in the straps. It's because, yeah, it might be more comfortable on your shoulder technically, but it's uncomfortable in other ways. It's uncomfortable because everything in it is bouncing around. And it's exactly the same with your shoulder straps and your boobs. So if you have larger breasts or you have weight in your breasts, you want to have as little stretch in the shoulder straps as possible. And especially from right above the breast to the shoulder, you want to have zero stretch in that area, because if there's any stretch at all, you're going to bounce. So you want to look for, the other thing you want to look for is the adjustability in a sports bra, because going back to the chafing thing, right? So the more closely the bra fits you as if it was made for you, the less likely you are to chafe and the better supported that you'll be. There are people who are lucky enough so when you have a pullover bra, the bra, you have to match your like nipple to your shoulder, that measurement, that length needs to match what the measurement is of the bra. And for some people it does, and that's great for them. But if you're longer there or you're shorter there, you're going to get bounce, or you're going to get digging into your shoulder because there's no adjustment in the strap. And same with the underband. If you would just happen to fit that underband as it was constructed, great. But if you're a little bigger or you're a little smaller, you're going to get shifting. And with the pullover head bras that are like small, medium, large, your breast size needs to match your clothing size. So small breasts, small breasts, small clothing size, medium breasts, medium clothing size. If you have large breasts and small clothing size, you're not going to fit into those kinds of bras. So I also tell people, just, if you're somebody where you just have an issue fitting into pull over the head bras for running, for sure you want to look for adjustability. And that usually means it's a bra size bra. It's not a small, medium, large bra. So stretch, adjustability, cleavage is another thing to look for. Anything that's exposed will move. So if you see cleavage in a bra, all of that is going to be moving. So you want to make sure that you're properly covered, that you don't see any cleavage. And then the cups, you want to look at the shape of the cups. Like the pointier the cup shape is, the more you're going to move. The more compressed it is, the less you're going to move. And then also how much stretch is in the cups. So stretch in the shoulder straps and stretch in the cups is very directly related to how supportive the bra is. So if there's stretch in the cups, you're also going to be bouncing. So it's like, that's another thing to look for. In terms of like what's coming and what's exciting, I'm going to say that there are a lot of gimmicks out there with sports bras. There's a lot of gimmicks to try to get people to buy things that actually don't work once you purchase them. So yeah, and I think you know this as somebody who wears sports bras. I'm sure you've tried a lot of things that don't live up to their claims. I think, probably the most interesting innovations right now would be in fabrics, like fabrics that can be a little bit more like maybe be a little less tight when you're doing something lower impact and more tight when you're doing something higher impact. But the brands that have launched bras with those kinds of fabrics so far, it's just too early in the technology, and they don't live up to what they say that they do. So I think that technology can continue to evolve, and I think it will. And when it does, I think it'll get to a point that's exciting. Um, People talk a lot about like adaptive technologies in bras, like, putting in, electronics in bras. To me, that's still a gimmick. That's still a gimmick. Like, yeah. I just think that's just like, oh, we've advanced bras because we put electronics in it. I'm like, that's not what most women are
looking. Keep them up. It's all we want.
Yeah. So
what are they trying to do? What do they want? Like to talk to your boobs?
Yeah,
it would just be like, ow. What do you mean electronics? What does that mean?
Yes. So that's the people who are like, really like way out. Like,
God, those people need to be locked up. They need to be protected from them. What does that mean?
Yeah. So to me, it's more about like, I would care more about a brand making a bra that doesn't chafe me and is breathable than I care about any of the mumbo jumbo that like you're going to say, oh, I can show this at, Consumer Electronics Show as a new innovation. Who gives a shit? I don't care. Just, I don't want to be chafed. I want to be held up, and I want it to be breathable. I don't want to be sweating all over the place. No one has solved that. Like that, those are the basics. And no one has solved all of that in one bra. No one, literally no one. So to me, like, that's where you should be innovating, not like, how can we add all these electronics that tell you God only knows what about how your breasts are moving? Who cares? So yeah, that's my 2 cents on that.
Do you have a bra that you've worked on that like you are like most proud of or most excited about? Are you allowed to talk about that?
I can't talk about, I wish I could talk about the bras that I've currently worked on, because there are a couple that I'm really excited about, but I can't talk about them because of the contracts that I have.
Damn you,
but
NDAs.
I know. But I will say that I mean, a bra that I worked on in the past, that I think it's far enough in the past that I can talk about it, is the Nike Flyknit bra, which is one of those pull over the head bras that only fits people that, if it matches your shoulder and it matches your underband and all of that. That I don't like about that bra, but what I like is that I worked on the technology of creating a knit structure that could be locked out in certain areas and stretch in certain areas without having to sew seams. So we created a fabric that just in one fabric, because bras usually have a lot of seams and a lot of layers. So it was one fabric and one layer. There were areas that were completely locked out, no stretch, and there were areas that were stretched. Typically, you have to do that by adding a bunch of layers or adding a bunch of glue. And we were able to accomplish that without that. So I think that there's a lot of innovation in that bra that's really interesting. And I've met people who tell me they love that bra and it's their favorite bra. But, to me, when I look at it, like, I love the technology and I think it's great. I also think it would be better if it was a bra that had more adjustability and had the things that I know would make it a better bra.
I think it should be illegal to make bras that don't have adjustability, and lots of adjustability. Like that bra that I was telling you about, that Adidas bra, oops, name dropping, that I ran in yesterday. I'm sure the bra's great. It feels great. It feels like a great bra. And I just was in the wrong size, but like the adjustability in the straps was like 3 inches or 4 inches. And I'm like, what? Why? You've come this far, double it. Like, what? Why? Well, that's not adjustability. That's like putting an ice cube in a coffee. Like, you're not going to notice the difference. You need like 8 ice cubes to make it an iced coffee.
I totally agree with you. And I totally see like what you're saying. And there are a lot of reasons that, manufacturers do certain things that, especially to a consumer, doesn't make any sense at all. Behind the scenes, I can tell you, like, it's like the designer had a really strong point of view that it had to be beautiful with this extra thing, which shortened the amount of adjustability that was allowed, or it was too expensive for them and they weren't going to make any profit on the bra if they added, more elastic. Like there are reasons like that go into it. But, at the same time, and I say this, a lot to the companies that I work with. I'm like, at the end of the day, a sports bra needs to function. It needs to be function before fashion. Like, which isn't to say it needs to be ugly, because I think making a beautiful sports bra is amazing. And I'd love to see more beautiful sports bras. But if the choice is between beautiful and function, please choose function every single time, because that is like, it has to function. And if it doesn't, then, like, it's not a bra that's meant for activity. Like, it's a bra that's meant for lounging around.
I think this is honestly the biggest problem that we have. And the reason it's taken so long is that women really are fine with suffering or having just good enough. And they're not vocal about saying like, this is garbage, or like, this is not good enough. I am not settling for good enough. And like, people, like, we have social media, we have ways to elevate voices. And yet everybody's like, we're just grateful that people are trying. And it's like, no, everybody needs to come on, everybody. We all just need to like band together and say, this is what we need, because I'm with you. It's like, it is not good enough. I love the new Lululemon air support sports bra. I forget what it's called. I really like it. One of the reasons I really like it is that it's like beautiful. It's like finally a sports bra that like is equally pretty and like feels good. But like, again, it has the 3-inch adjustability, and I'm like, make it 6, like more. Why? Come on. And like, I'm with you. Like, if I were to say like, it's not going to be that pretty anymore, but like, it's going to support me like 100%. I'm tired of bleeding. I am tired of it. Like, going to bed at night hurts. Taking showers hurts. It takes like 5 days for my wounds to heal.
Yeah. Which is, again, not okay. Like, totally not okay. Yeah.
And I was like, I went for a 30-minute run. Like, I chafed that bat on a 30-minute run, which is mind-boggling.
On the Adidas one. Yeah.
I want to try it in the right size, but I'm like, at what point? Like, I don't have $100,000 to spend on fucking sports bras.
Yeah, I like this. I call it the sports bra graveyard. Like, how many people have a bra full of sports bras they don't wear because they're, either they're too old and they're stretched out, or they just don't fit right. And like, you spent a lot of money on something that doesn't deliver, which is super frustrating.
So frustrating. Which I appreciate brands that are like, they have those like 60-day or 30-day trial periods, because I know that's not good for their bottom line. But like, damn. What an offer. Okay, so you can't tell us about what's exciting coming. We all need to get loud about sports bras that suck, and we need to stop accepting the fact that we wear shitty sports bras and we're just okay with it. Can we talk about this incredible guide that is on Bravolution.com?
Sure.
Okay. How long did it take you to make this?
A long time.
I bet. And why is it free?
It's part of my why, Kelly. I mean, because I want to give information and I want it to be free. And
do you have a Patreon?
Try to. Yeah, it took a few months to put that together. It's a long time.
This is incredible, and I'm so pissed off at myself that I did not investigate this further and find this sooner. Like, I'm truly disappointed in myself. I want to talk about it because this is, I mean, honestly, it's mind blowing. Like, this is shit that I feel like I should have known a long time ago. Can we go through? So first and foremost, your website where people can go to really learn about sports bras, how to find a sports bra that fits you. And there's a lot of information, like a lot of information. So like, when you get there, just put your curiosity goggles on. And I think the first thing you do is go find this guide, because this sums it up perfectly. You put your email in, you wait a couple of minutes, and you get this amazing guide. And I want to go through it with you because, my God, you're doing God's work. First and foremost, you teach us all how to measure. What do we need to know when we go to measure? And we don't have to go through the entire thing, but like best practices. What are the mistakes that people are making?
Okay, so here's where you're also going to get pissed off, is when I tell you about the lies about measuring. So measuring gets you so far, and I say this in the guide, it gives you a ballpark. It does not give you an exact bra size. I think it works 7% of the time that it gives you an exact bra size. But women have been told, oh, I measure my underband, I measure my overbust, and I get my bra size. And like, no, it just gets you close. And there's a few reasons for this. First, bra sizing is based on Victorian shirt sizing. So all it's doing is getting you to a Victorian shirt size. So Victorian shirts were non-stretch and they went over corsets. They were not stretch things that dug into your skin that were undergarments. So we're just getting you, all we're doing is getting you a Victorian shirt size. That's all we're doing. So when you know that, you can say, okay, maybe this measuring thing isn't as accurate as I thought, because it's not even meant to get you into a bra, it's meant to get you into a Victorian shirt. So that's the first thing. Secondly, a measuring tape is not meant to measure something three-dimensional. So no one says put 14 inches of flour in your cake. You put it into a cup. And a breast is a three-dimensional thing that is very difficult to measure with a measuring tape. Like, again, like if you just dump some flour out onto your counter, you could put the measuring tape on the bottom or the top. You're going to get different measurements every single time. And there's different breast shapes. So when a breast gets into a cup, there are some breast shape, like these breasts will look totally different and they'll all fit the same cup. So I just want to like clear that, you know, measuring, just go into it knowing that measuring is not as accurate as you might think it is. The underband measurement is the most accurate measurement. So of the two, the overbust one, Wild West, but the underbust one is the closest one to get you to what your size is. Now, I would say like there is some correlation between clothing size and underband size, but as you get up in clothing sizes, that correlation becomes less and less. So this is, again, another one of the things that blows people's minds about bra sizing is, so for example, like if you're like a size small or medium, you're probably like a 32, 34, 36 band, right? But if you're a size 2XL, you might also be a 36 band, because the band is digging into your skin and it fits to your rib cage, and your rib cage stays the same size no matter what clothing size you are, right? Your rib cage is always the same size. So even if you are a little fleshier, like it's digging into that flesh, and so you're probably still wearing a smaller band. So that measurement gets you, it'll get you so far. You know, and what the bra industry will tell you is you measure around your rib cage, you add 4 inches if that number is even, you add 5 inches if that number is odd, and that gives you a band size. I say start there and then actually go on and try some bras and see how that actually fits you. To me, a better gauge is, and the other thing too is that bras are like jeans. Not all brands fit the same. Even within a brand, not all sizes fit the same. So this is like another like psychological thing where women are like, I'm always a 32D forever and ever. I'm like, are you always a size 8 in every jean that you buy? Or, I mean, it's the same thing. Bras are the same way. There's no standards. So everyone sizes things their own way. So you could be a 32D in one brand. You might be a 36C in another. Like it depends on the brand. So I tell people to put the bra on, put it on the middle hook, and then I tell them to like pull the band back from their back. And if you can pull it about 2 inches, then it's probably the right size. If you can pull it way more than that, either it's a really bad bra and their fabrics are way too stretchy, or it's the wrong size. So that's one way to know if it's the right band. In terms of the overbust measurement, again, that gets you into a ballpark, but I find a more accurate way to actually figure out what your bra size is to look at your current, like if you have an underwire bra currently, look at how your breast is fitting in the cup. Like if you have something we call double busting, like if the what we call the neckline of the bra, like the front cup of the bra, if that's digging into your boob and you're seeing like 2 boobs there, like there's like a bump and then a bra and then a bump, it's probably a cup that's too small. If you're seeing a lot of exposed cleavage, it's probably a cup that's too small. If you're seeing like, you know, bulging on the side, it's probably a cup that's too small. Like that will tell you more about whether or not you're in the right cup than a measurement will. The measurement will get you so far, and you can follow in the guide because it's complicated. Like, you know, they'll give you add inches and subtract inches and all of this thing. But actually looking at how you fit in the cup is going to tell you more. Most women who are wearing the wrong bra are wearing a band that's too big and a cup that's too small. So if your bra size isn't right, it's probably one or both of those things that's off.
Yeah. Can we move to sister sizes?
Sure.
What is this?
So again, this is another wonderful antiquated thing about how bra sizing is. So again, most women don't know that a 38A, 36B, 34C, and 32D all fit the same size breast. The lie you've been told your whole life is that D cups are always large and A cups are always small. There are Ds that are the same size as A's, Ds that are larger than A's, and Ds that are smaller than A's, depending on where you are in the chart. So everything in bra sizing is a ratio. Like you go in to buy a pair of jeans, there's one that's going to fit you. One's too big, one's too small. You find the one that fits, you walk out with it. But when a bra, you might pull a bra and it fits your breast and you think, great, I've got my size. You don't realize there are at least 4 other sizes that will also fit your breast exactly the same. And the only thing that's different is the underband measurement. So the only thing that's different between the 32D and the 38A is the 32D has a smaller underband and the 38A has a larger underband. And instead of like maybe making that a little bit more logical so that you would know that, oh, this is like the 38A has a larger underband and say size breast is a D. There are definitely ways that you could do that and make it more logical. You just assume that the A is a smaller breast because that's what you've been told your whole life. Well, no, that's a lie. That's not true. So this is the biggest like blow your mind. Like I had friends of mine who are like guys, there's no way that's true. I don't care how big of an expert you are. There's no way. I would take them into a Victoria's Secret. I'd pull the 38A and the 32D and say, take a look. The cups are exactly the same. And that's how they manufacture them. The manufacturers literally take the same front and mass produce it, call one an A and one a D, depending on what rib cage, like what underband they put on it. So when they put the smaller one, they call it a D. When they put the larger one, they call it an A. That's how they manufacture them. So it's like literally nothing changes, literally exactly the same fronts, whether you're an A or a D. So like that is the thing that like blows women's mind. Like so few women know that. And I do talk about that in my TED Talk, by the way. So like, I go way into sister sizing, and you kind of get an understanding more, again, based on Victorian shirt sizing, totally antiquated, backwards, and a much better way to do it. But you should know that like if you don't take one thing away from this call, know that sister sizing exists, and that you need to figure that out before you go bra shopping, because otherwise you are at the mercy of the bra fitter. They're going to tell you, for example, you're a 32D because they like fitting tightly, when actuality, you would be just as happy in the 34C, and it would fit you a little bit looser. And maybe not, you don't want to be in a band that's so loose that it rides up, especially if you're running. You want to make sure that it's super tight, there's no shifting going on. But when you're talking about an everyday bra, as long as it's not riding up and you're not, it doesn't stretch out too far, the difference between a 32 and a 34 is that big. So I want you to think about a belt, like a belt for jeans, for example. No stretch at all and has multiple adjustments, right? So you can get a small size belt or you can get a large size belt. But like the small probably isn't going to fit you if you're a size large, even on the loosest, or even on the loosest hole, right? A bra band, underband, is essentially a belt. It's a belt with stretch and adjustments. So if your jeans belt had stretch and adjustments, how many different jeans belts would fit you? A lot. Yeah, and that is exactly what is going on with bra underbands. There's just like in some bra underbands, there's just a half-inch difference between the 32 and the 34. There's some have a 2-inch difference, some have a half-inch, some have a 2.5, but they all have stretch, right? So like the tightest hook on a 32 is just like the loosest hook on a 30. So whether you're a 30, and there's just like, I don't know, a few millimeters difference between the two, whether you're a 30 or 32 is completely based on personal preference and how much you want something to dig into you. So some women really like that feel. They want to feel super like compressed by their bra. They like that feeling. They want to go tighter. But if you're not someone who likes that and you like a little bit looser, you should, because again, think about it. It's like a belt with stretch. It has multiple adjustments. How many of those belts are going to fit you? A lot of them. As long as it isn't riding up in the back, as long as you're not pulling it out too far, there's probably 2 bra sizes that will fit you equally well. One will be tighter, one will be looser, and you should go with your personal preference.
Damn. Yeah, when I read that and heard that, I was like, what needs to happen to make sizing less of a shit show?
If you're gonna go with traditional bra sizing, what would need to happen, honestly, is Victoria's Secret, who has the largest market share, would need to change their sizing. That is never going to happen. It will cost them tens of millions of dollars. They have no reason to do it. No one's forcing them to. Nobody cares enough to want them to. Nobody knows enough to want them to. They're never going to make that change. Like the retailer with the largest market share would need to make the change, and then other retailers would follow. There are small brands that start with their own sizing that try to make it a little bit more, a little bit more logical. It ends up just being a barrier to a sale because women are so socialized in the bra sizing system the way it is. They don't want to be told some funky bra size that they got to go figure out, right? Like they just know what their bra size is. So it would need to change with something like that. But I honestly think that what's going to happen, I see the bra changing before I see the sizing system changing. I think that bras will change to be like, so using adaptable fabrics, for example, I think that bras will change to be garments that do fit more shapes and sizes, either with adjustability or fabrics that have, more stretch and are more adaptable. And then you could sell in sizing that's more like small, medium, large sizing and still get a decent fit. And I think like that will happen. And I believe that the shape, so like the shape, the aesthetically pleasing shape of breasts changed between like 1950s and 1970s. It went from a pointy shape, you remember the bullet bras, to a round shape, a round pushed up shape, especially 80s, 90s. I think that's changing again. I still think a round shape is going to be pleasing in our culture, but I think it doesn't need to be that pushed up like melons in your face anymore. I think that you can have like a nice, like, just a nice round shape that isn't super pushed up. You don't need an underwire and you don't need, that bra sizing system if you have less of a pushed up look. And so I think the bra will change. I think what we consider aesthetically pleasing will change. And I think different sizing will go with that, because you can have different sizing with those kinds of garments. Bras as they are right now, they have to stay in this sizing. You could make it more logical. And I talked about that a little bit in my TED Talk. You could make it more logical for sure, but no one would adopt it unless the biggest manufacturer adopt it, and they're never going to do it.
I don't know. They have like what, Megan Rapinoe and Priyanka Chopra now, like all these people. Like if we go hard, if people make enough noise,
yeah,
those women to get pissed.
If they made enough noise, they would, but no one
harass anyone online enough and change happens.
This is true. Like, let's start a movement, Kelly. Let's start a movement.
Backdoor.
Yeah, I like it.
All right, let's move to shoulder shape, because this is the one that I was like, what? We had a group run for Badass Lady Gang, and I was telling everyone about what I was learning, and I was like, y'all, there are shoulders. Like all of our shoulders are different. I'm like, everybody turn around, and I'm like, I have no idea how to do this.
Yeah, this is the thing that, again, this is another mind-blowing thing that women never think about when purchasing a bra. But your shoulder shape is a huge determinant in whether or not the bra fits you. So there are people who have straight and average space shoulders. Lucky them. But most people do not have that. Most people either have narrow shoulders or narrow and sloping shoulders. If you have narrow shoulders, the odds of your straps falling off, if you have a straight strap bra, like an everyday bra especially, the odds of that bra strap falling off, very high. Also, if you have sloping shoulders, it's very high. If you have narrow and sloping shoulders, you're screwed. You have to wear a racer back or an X back if you're one of those people, because no straight strap bra is going to fit you without the straps falling off all the time. So when you see a bra, so like an everyday bra, for example, you'll notice like the aesthetically pleasing ones have the strap off to the side. So the strap isn't right over the nipple, it's off to the side of it, because that's considered more aesthetically pleasing, which is great.
Checking to see what I have on right now.
Yeah. If you have straight, if you have straight, averagely spaced shoulders, great for you. But if you don't, like, those straps are going to be falling off. And then one way you can tell is I tell people, like, take your hand, like the four fingers, and put it on the edge of your shoulder. And if it's covering or partially covering your strap and it's a straight strap bra, there's a risk of it falling off. If it's not touching the strap, then it probably won't fall off. So that's one way that you can tell. But you want to look for, so if you have narrow and or sloping shoulders, you want to look for either a straight strap bra that has the straps very close to the neck, which some bras do. And you can look in the back of the bra, you can see, like, are the straight straps coming really close to the neck? That those won't fall off of you, or you need to do some kind of X back or racer back. Otherwise, you can do a straight strap bra, and that's fine. But if you find you struggle with a straight strap bra, it's probably your shoulders. That's probably the reason why you're struggling with it. So you definitely want to think about your shoulders. The other thing to keep in mind with shoulders and neck is you also don't want a bra that comes up too high on your neck. Like, some people have wider necks and some people have narrower necks. If you have a wider neck, and especially if you're someone who works out and lifts a lot of weights, you might have a really developed, your neck muscles might be really developed. And in which case, if those straps are coming up too high on your neck, you could start to get like a headache, or you could start to get back and shoulder neck pain, because they're coming up too high and they're really digging in there. So for another person, it might be fine because they have a narrower neck or they're not as developed. But for you, it's just not the right not the right choice for you because it's coming up too high in your neck. So you always want to look at that too. Like, is like where the curve of your neck starts, are the straps on there? Because if they are, then you probably shouldn't buy that bra.
I would never have thought to look into that again. It's just one of those things like, oh, if it's supportive, fine, it's fine. It gives me headaches. That's just like my lot in life. And I was like, God damn it. No. And like, I think I started digging into all your stuff right after I tried one of the new sports bras that was like innovative, blah, 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 blah. And I really liked it. But again, I think I have a pretty meaty neck. And it was like, it was right here on those two little pressure points. And I was starting to get headaches after like a 2-hour long run. And I was like, my God, I would never have thought to be like, where are the straps? Mind blowing.
Yeah.
Mind blowing. Who knew that we weren't supposed to get headaches when we work out? You know, who knew? I didn't.
Well,
I thought it was just my lot in life.
Well, I'm glad that you know more about shoulder shape now. The other thing to think about too, Kelly, is like the amount of space between your breasts, your breast shape. Like one of my irritating things when I read some article about a sports bra that somebody recommends is they say, oh, I'm a 32D and I tried it and it's great for 32Ds. I could take 10 32Ds. 2 of those people will love the bra, the other 8 will hate it. So it's not about your bra size, about whether or not you're going to like a bra. It's about your space between your breasts, your shoulder shape, your breast shape. Like all of those things play into whether or not you're going to like the bra or not, because they all play into the fit. So you can't just go by somebody who has the same size as you telling you it's a great bra. It might work for you. Odds are it probably won't, because you don't have the same shape as that person.
Damn. That's like it almost feels like that's like the biggest takeaway. It's like, that's the one that everybody needs to know, because that's the one that no one has ever heard in their whole entire lives. Oh, our world and the things we don't teach us. Can we move to strap and underband fit?
Sure. So for running, you want to have as little stretch in the strap and as little stretch in the underband as possible. You don't want the underband to be so tight that you can't expand your lungs when you're running, right? Like, so you need to be able to expand your lungs and feel comfortable doing that. But again, if so, like I was saying, with an everyday bra, you don't want to pull it out more than 2 inches. With a sports bra, you really don't want to pull it out more than 1/2 inch, like, because any bit of movement that you have there, it'll start causing chafing, because you'll get those micro movements as you're running, and that will cause chafing. So you want the band to be, really snug. And I do find that wider underbands tend to work well on women with larger breasts. Like, you just get more of it. It's like a foundation. You just get a better foundation. And then with the shoulder straps, I already told you about the stretch. Like, you don't want to have any stretch between, like, right above the nipple to the shoulder. And a lot of really high impact bras have no stretch at all in the entire strap. So you don't want to have any stretch, especially in that area. And you don't want to be able to pull it up more than, like, a 1/2 inch or so. Like, you don't want to go any higher than that, because if you can pull those straps way up, and especially on your everyday bra too, if you can pull those straps way up, it's a low quality bra and it's not going to support you, or it's really old, or it's, the wrong size. So find one where you can't, or there's just a minimal amount that you can stretch it up once it's properly adjusted, of course. Like, so adjust it first, but then once you do that, make sure that it's not going to go up too much, because otherwise you'll have a lot of bounce.
Oh, that makes so much sense. Last but not least, can we talk cup fit? Because, oh boy.
So like I said earlier, the number one fit issue with cups is cups too small. Like, occasionally I see cups that are too big. There's some wrinkling in the cup, or there's some, like, you can see a gap at the neckline. Most women have one breast that's bigger than another.
Yeah, me.
Almost everyone has one breast that's bigger than another. And if you have, like, space in the neckline on one but not the other, then you're fine, because that's just, bras are made symmetrical and humans are not. So, but if both of your cups is showing space at the top of the cups, then you probably want to take a look at whether or not that's probably a cup that's too big. But since most cups are too small, let's concentrate on that. So again, for cups that are too small, you want to, like, the first place to look is the neckline. Is the neckline of the bra, is it digging into your breast and causing a bump? So, like, are you seeing it? And one way, if you feel like you can't really tell, put on a really tight t-shirt over your bra. If you're getting a smooth shape, then it's the right size cup. If you're getting a bump, it's too big. It's too small. So to look for that. Another thing is, if there's a ton of cleavage there, again, I say, like, if you can do 3 or 4 fingers before like your breast tissue is exposed 3 or 4 fingers before your fingers hit the top of your bra, you're in the wrong cup size. It's a cup too small. The other thing is if you're in an underwire bra, there's usually a center front triangle in that bra. We call that the gore of the bra. If it's sitting away from your chest, your cups are too small, because think about it, the breast is fitting the cup, and if it's too small, it's pushing it out. And so it is pushing out the front of the bra, which is why there's a space there. That little triangular piece on an underwire bra is supposed to sit right up against your sternum. There should be no space whatsoever. So if there is space, then you know that the cup is too small. And then finally, when you look on the side, is if you have an underwire bra, is the underwire digging into your breast tissue? That's a cup that's too small. Or are you seeing like a lot of like side boob? It could be either a cup that's too small or a bra that's just not a good fit for you because of the way your breast shape is. So that's another thing to look for as well.
What are your thoughts on underwire sports bras?
Underwire sports bras. Okay, so underwire sports bras and all the testing that I have done do not make a difference in support, which people find really surprising. And the way I explain it is, like, imagine a skyscraper in an earthquake, right? So there's a foundation that's stuck to the ground and that stays still, but everything that's above that moves in an earthquake, right? That's like a cup with an underwire. So just because it's securing the base of the breast, which is what an underwire does, doesn't mean the breast isn't moving. If the cup isn't properly constructed, or it's, the wrong shape or the wrong amount of stretch, it doesn't matter whether you have an underwire or not. So to me, on all the testing I've done, underwire makes zero difference in support. It really depends on all the other characteristics of the bra, whether or not it's a good bra. That being said, I personally don't like underwires in sports bras. I know people who feel like they can't have a sports bra without one. I feel it's a polarizing thing, and it's a very much a personal preference kind of thing. If you have an underwire sports bra that you love and it doesn't chafe you, more power to you. Like, that's great that you found one that works for you. But don't make the assumption that because something has an underwire that's going to support you better, because that simply isn't true.
I'm so glad you said that. I feel like the underwire is like you've had the same thing forever and ever and ever, and you just like it because it's what you know, and you're like, let it go. Underwire, there's no space for an underwire in a sports bra. It's just like, no, be gone. So I'm very glad you said that. Another polarizing topic is removable pads. Why are people so pissed about removable pads? I have never understood why people lose their shit on removable pads. I'm like, sew them in or take it out. Stop being such a baby.
Oh my gosh, the number of conversations I have about this. Okay, so first, let me tell you why manufacturers use removable pads to begin with. It's because they're trying to be everything to everybody, because there are people who hate padding and there are people who love padding. And so when they sell a bra, they don't want to alienate the people who love padding by not putting padding in it. And they don't want to alienate the people who don't love padding by putting padding in it. So they're like, oh, we'll just put it in removable cups. Well, I mean, the thing is, if the way removable cups are made, they're usually separate. Not all removable cups are, but they're usually separate. You have no idea which way to put them in. They get lost in the wash. They're usually a low quality foam that shrinks up and shrivels in the wash. And then, like, after your first wash, so there's a lot of issues with just removable cups in general. Those could be totally innovated to be a lot more easier to put in, to be a lot more functional. Like, those could totally be innovated, but it's a throwaway thing that just costs a few cents that a manufacturer throws on to just make everybody happy. So they're not putting a ton of thought into it, right? Whereas, I've had people tell me, like, just have them, like, have the balls to, like, put a stake in the ground and just, like, this one's gonna have pads and this one isn't. Like, yeah, I mean, you could make that argument, but at the same time, they're trying. There's business reasons why they do that. So I guess what I would say is, I get the struggle is real with removable pads. I understand why people are frustrated with them. But there are people who love them, and there are people who and they're usually not as vocal as the people who hate them, but there are people who love them. And, like, every study I've ever seen or every survey I've ever seen, it's always 50-50 whether people like them or not. I always think, like, oh, it's going to be like 20% like them and 80% hate them, and it's always 50-50. So, and as long as it continues to be 50-50, manufacturers will keep using them because there are people who love them.
That's like one of those things. It's like, ladies, stop it, get loud. Because I'm with you. Like, removable pads should be innovative. Like, there's no reason we should be using those, like, cheap nonsense. No
Yeah.
reason, especially when they come in like a really nice sports bra. You're like, what are you
Yeah,
doing
they
in here?
definitely be innovative. Like one struggle that people have is getting them in. And the tip I give them is like you kind of make it like a burrito, like you like fold over one side and the other, and then you stick it in, and then it will just pop into the cup. So if you're
Like
somebody
an
who's like, "Oh,
IUD.
yeah, kind of, yeah, kind of like that." Love the analogy there, Kelly. Okay.
Go in small and then become terrifying.
Yes. Okay.
I'm blushing. I'm blushing. That joke was even off color for me. Are you allowed to talk about bras that are on the market that you're like, this bra is exciting? Because I think if there's one takeaway we can take from this is that like everyone is very, very, very different. And you have to figure out like what your specifications are before you find a bra. Like it's impossible to say like, this is a great bra for everyone. Like I feel like that's like a really important takeaway from this conversation, which is like, sucks for you brands. We're on to you.
Well, I mean, I appreciate you saying that. I can't talk about specific bras, but it's also, it's, if there was one specific bra that I thought was all things to all people, I would break that rule and I would tell you. I mean, partially
Yeah.
it's because I work with different brands and NDAs and that type of thing. But the honest truth is that every single brand has a bra that's amazing to somebody because of all of these differences in breast shape, breast size, shoulder shape, body type. I mean, literally, and personal preference is huge as well. Like, what I would say is if you're thinking about your bra or you're thinking about your boobs, it's the wrong bra. Anything that's causing you distractions is the wrong bra. And now that you have tips for finding like a high support bra, look for those things when you're looking for a bra. But know that if you put on a bra and you're being distracted by it, like you're thinking about your bra, you're thinking about your boobs, return it. Like there are better bras out there for you. Like know what to look for, like, like it's, the tips that I just gave you, and that will help you find something that you like. But really, just don't put up with something that doesn't work well. There is no like amazing innovation that I've seen in sports bras anytime recently. I think the last big innovation was the bra that I worked on at Nike that I told you about, the Flyknit bra. And that was an innovation from a manufacturing standpoint. I don't know that most consumers even really get what that innovation was. The other thing I would say is to be a little bit careful of is something called bonding. So bonding is like, it's basically glue. It's gluing clothing together rather than sewing it together. And a lot of designers really like it because it gives a really sleek, modern look. But that glue, like glue will like wear out. It will.
Yeah. I hate it.
So, that's another thing to just think about is just make sure like if something looks like it's glued, think twice, because it's not always the best solution.
God, I want to like start what do they call them? What do you call them when a bunch of people signs the same thing?
A petition?
Thank you. I'm like, what? I want to start a GoFundMe. No, I like, there needs to be a petition that's like, stop with the glue. Stop with the glue. No. We don't even put them in the dryer and they don't last. Like if we're paying all like top dollar, stop it. Knock it off. No, I don't want to gorilla glue my goddamn sports bra. Thank you very much. Can I ask you about sizing? Like, I feel like women with larger breasts and larger women is like an underserved, area. Like what the F is going on and why is no one making bras for bigger women?
Well, I would say that more brands are making bras for bigger women, which is a good thing. The reason it's a long kind of, I'll try to make it as concise as possible. When bras are manufactured, there's actually, so when clothing's manufactured, there's one size that they start with, and then they just use a computer to make the patterns bigger and smaller, and they just start with one size. When bras are manufactured, they have 3 sizes that they have to start from. And even though the bra looks the same among all those sizes, the internal components are totally different. So as you get into like the larger sizes, there's different internal componentry in that bra to make it lift, a